welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rosie Henshaw. If you're new here, then welcome. It's lovely to meet you. And if you're already existing, guys, then thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate it. So grab yourself a nice cup of tea and some snacks. Mine's a lemon tea. My nan's watching me in the background, so she's made me a nice lemon tea, bless her. And we're going to get in. So this video was promised a good few weeks ago now. I went to the pound shop. If you watched my videos, you'll have seen. I went to the pound shop, bought loads of things that were just generic items in there. They hadn't currently got any of their Halloween or autumn stuff out. So we was just basically buying cheap things and trying to imitate Halloween stuff on a budget. But now all the stuff has hit the shop, so I'm pretty sure there's loads of things in there that you can have as alternatives. It's just I didn't bring the video, and also it was in the 6 weeks holidays. It was really stressful with the kids being off, and then I was going to film it last week and have it up, and then everything happened with the news, which is really sad about the Queen. So I thought it's really inappropriate. So I thought what I'll do is I'll bring it today. But that's what matters. We're here today. We've got the stuff, and I know a lot of you went out and bought some of these items to transform yourselves, especially the hot air balloon, which I hope you haven't got such high hopes for, because literally I'm painting it. I'm not doing anything drastic to it, but I just thought it's a lovely little piece of decor that I can add to Albert's room, and it will look really sweet. And it was really, really cheap. It's in the pound shop. So gonna get in now anyway. If you're not already subscribed, please consider hitting the sub button and a notification bell, then you'll be alerted when any of my new videos are uploaded. So the first craft I want to show you is a really, really simple one. So I always have my wooden spoons and stuff out in my little utensil jar. A lot of you ask where that's from. I got that from Garden Trading a few years ago when we had the extension done. But I like having all my autumnal spoons and stuff in there as well. I've got a little heart one actually that I've got for Valentine's Day. But I loved it so much that I've kept it out. But I know lots of you buy these. Now on Etsy, these are quite expensive. They're like £15 for a wooden spoon, which seems a little bit drastic for a bloody wooden spoon. So I'm going to show you how we do it really cheap. So in the pound shop, they do 2 wooden spoons. They have them in there, they're for £1, so they work out about 50p each. I do know that if you don't go to the pound shop, places like Wilko, Tesco's, they sometimes have these for about 30p. So you can do this really cheap. So all you're going to need is some PVA glue if you don't have Mod Podge. I have got Mod Podge because I've nicked Millie's one. Millie's got some Mod Podge. Normally I would just use PVA glue. It's really cheap. You can get that in the pound shop too. Any napkins, and some paint or some stain, anything you've got in your shed basically. So I'm going to be using some of this. So I went to Wilko and I got some of this scratch cover for medium coloured wood in there. I think this was about £2.50, but it's really good for my table to cover up scratches and stuff. But I thought it would be really good because it actually stains the wood. So I'm just going to get a little bit of cloth, like a bit of kitchen roll or an old rag that you can use for this. I'm just going to pop a little bit on here, and I'm just going to start dyeing the spoon. Now I've got some pegs, like a peg rail, in my living room, and I found out that you could use this on that. Obviously I wouldn't recommend cooking with this after, because it's not going to be healthy or safe, food safe, but it's just the decorative ones. It saves you going on Etsy spending £15 on a spoon when you don't need to, because I know you love to have decor, and if you're not really into putting pumpkins about all around your house, you can add that little bit of autumn flair really cheaply by doing this. You can build this up, and as you can see, it gets really dark, like a nice natural rustic colour on it. I'm just going to rub that all over. I'll probably end up with it all over my hands. Alternatively, if you don't like the sort of rustic dark wood that I'm going for, you can paint this. I just thought this would be a lot easier to do this and quicker for the video, because we've got quite a few other crafts that we're going to do. So I thought I'd show you the most simple one first. So it really does look much more expensive, like one of the ones that you'd pay for, like the, is it Acacia wood, Ace, whatever it is, however you spell it, however you sand it out, and you go over it a good few layers, make it really dark, and you can get that in different coloured wood stains as well. But that's really good if you want to stain something that's like cheap light wood and make it look a bit more rustic. Obviously, like I say, don't use that for food. So I'm going to get another piece of kitchen towel, paper towel, and I'm just going to rub it off to make sure there's no excess. I'm going to go over a napkin. Now, I know a lot of shops now are doing napkins with sort of pumpkins and stuff on. I think the UK's really brought it over, haven't we? Like, we really want to have the autumn decor over here. I got these ones from H&M Home. These were £1.99 for a pack of 15. And these are really good. And they say give thanks on them as well. But I really love the rustic pumpkin design that they have on these. So all you're going to need, you're probably going to need some scissors actually. Where are those scissors? I'll just use these ones. Probably could use bit of better scissors, but you know, the current theme of my videos, use whatever you have. Right, so all you're going to need to do with these napkins, if you've decoupaged before, you'll know exactly what to do. If you haven't, what you basically need to do is try and get it down to the single layer, like the first layer with the pictures on it. So normally about 3 ply. You can Yeah, I wouldn't recommend staining something and then putting your finger in your mouth because that don't taste very nice. My nan's laughing. So these haven't actually got that white little see-through bit of tissue in between them. I'm not getting a little sweaty fringe here, guys. Don't say I ain't got the dedication to show you. You know what, I'm bothered in my little jumper. I thought I'd do all autumnal, make you feel all the festive vibes. And I'm sweating. I'm actually dying over here. So these pumpkins are quite large. So I'm going to probably try and use the little orangey one. I'll try and see if I can. Now the best thing with decoupage is to make it look like it's seamless, is best to rip it. You've got to be really careful and slow with this. I'm not going to be because I'm trying to show you guys on here. But you're best to try and rip it because then you get a bit of a better seam when you're gluing it down. We'll try and use the large orange pumpkin, but if we can't, then we'll use the little yellowy one. But we shall see what we can do. Also, what my... That's me granddad probably ringing me nan. Like a little theme tune. Can answer it, nan. You're like, no, Steve. I don't know where that is. Are you bringing my multi-tool home? I borrowed my granddad's multi-tool when I was doing the decor in my bedroom. I'd done the panelling, bless him, and I'm always just raiding my granddad. I'm like, Granddad, have you got a drill? Granddad, have you got this? And he's like, yeah, and he goes to his shed and gets it, and then he just don't ever get it back. It just stays in my shed. Not on purpose though, Nan, is it? But he's rung, he said he needs to do his decking, so he needs his multi-tool back. I'm trying to never give it back. My Nan was like, why are you down the shed getting your crafts out? Do you want to bring the multi-tool in? That didn't come back down, did it, Nan? Oh no, I'll go get it in a minute. It's just because I've got a basket full of stuff. So I'm just cutting that bit because that's a bit tricky. So you end up with these little pumpkins. So it's really hard to kind of see. But do you know what I've done wrong here? I actually think, it's all very trial and error on here. I actually think we should have painted this little part here because now I've stained it dark. I didn't really think it through. You're going to have a lot of a darker colour because that's almost like you're not going to see that on there, to be honest with you. And I've seen these spoons everywhere and I've not done it right. So what I am going to do is with a little bit of chalk paint, I'm just going to go on the inside. I've got a little bit of white chalk paint and I've been using old makeup brushes to do my painting with. It goes on the smoothest and it's just really nice. So this is the thing, a lot of you on here say, oh Rosie, you know, I was a bit scared to craft before, but you do it and you make it seem so simple. It's because I'm not a great crafter. I just do what I can and you just see how it comes out. And that's how you've got to be sometimes. It is very trial and error. So I'm just going to paint it with a little bit of chalk paint and the chalk paint does tend to dry really, really quickly. And it hasn't got to be perfect because it is rustic and it's going to look really nice. It's just something to add a little bit of autumn flair to your kitchen. And I did actually have these kind of things in my basket on Etsy. And it is nice to shop small and support the little shops, but at the same time, why should you spend £15 on a spoon when you can make it yourself? So I painted a little bit white so it will stand out a bit better. I do want the orange pumpkin. So how are we gonna do this? I've got to layer it out. Yeah, I'm just going to use the orange pumpkin, I think, and then I'm going to overlay it with the little yellow ones. I'm going to cut round it. And the good thing is, while the paint is still wet, you can sort of like stick this onto the top and stick it down. And once you start using your Mod Podge, it will blend it into the spoon, so you won't even notice. Any excess you can trim off if you want to, or rip off. You can reapply this, go back over it. I'm going to move it over a little bit off centre, and I've just noticed a little top bit here because we've gone not on the dark wood, it needs a little bit of a smoothing over, so I'm going to do that now. But it does work best to rip this. A lovely lady from America, Lizzie, she sent me over some napkins a couple of years ago now, and she actually was like, she's the queen of Mod Podge. Not Mod Podge, decoupaging. She's queen of Mod Podge, I reckon that give her a laugh. But yeah, queen of decoupaging. So she sent me over some to do, and she showed me this candle trick that I showed on one of my videos a couple of years ago, and it's fantastic. And she showed me like a little tutorial on how to do it, and she said to rip it because it does go better. But obviously, if you need to glue it down, I'm going to get another old makeup brush, get a little bit of Mod Podge, but like I say, you can use PVA glue for this part, so you don't need to be buying this. I'm using the matte one because I don't want it shiny. PVA glue does go a bit shiny, but not too much. Literally need the tiniest amount, and I'm just going to go over the napkin and just make sure that it's sort of stuck on. This will look very white, but it will dry clear. You won't notice. What I will do is at the end of this video, a bit later in the day, once it's all dried and set out, I'm going to style it all out. My spoon's dry. Ah, there you go. So pop that on. I keep thinking the bird's the baby. That little one that's in the tree now that's like, I keep thinking it's the baby crying. The baby's down for a nap. Right. And then we're going to stick on top as well the little tiny pumpkin that we have. I'm going to just trim around that as well. I don't think it is the baby Nan. He's been down at literally about 10 minutes. I reckon it's that bird in the tree. Oh, he's the baby! Oh, bless him. My Nan's on hand. She was like, I'll come round and so you can do a bit of crafting. She was like, I'll watch the baby, because he's at the age now where he's into everything. So you can't really see. It looks very white over the top. You can't really tell at the moment, but that will dry clear, and I'm going to pop it in there and you'll see it just smooth out any crinkles as you go along. But it will dry nice and clear, and I will show you that at the end, but it's like really rustic. I'm also going to add a tiny little bit of twine because I think it's going to look really nice, and we can just pop that around the top, just tie a little bit around the top. And we're going to pop that in with the other spoons. And you can also gift these as well. These would be a really nice little idea to make for friends. A little bit of twine, trim that off. Could also use like a buffalo check ribbon, like this kind of ribbon or anything like that. But how cute is that? We're going to let that dry and I'll show you that at the end, but it's going to look really beautiful amongst all the other spoons, and it just adds like a little bit of an autumnal look in your kitchen. So the next project we're going to do is really, really similar. So I love all the sort of signs that you can get for your coffee stations or for your tiered trays, but they can sometimes be expensive. So any canvas from the pound shop, they do the little tiny ones, round ones, different shaped ones. I picked up an old Easter one. Now I think it's always good to pick up these ones when they're, you know, like in the sale after a season, because then they put them down to like 50p and you're going to be painting over them anyway. So you can use your canvas this way, but what I thought we would do is they've got a very nice wooden frame in this, and we can make a really rustic sign by using this. So it's got all the little staples in, so just with a little knife, obviously be careful, we're gonna just pick out all the staples. We're gonna do this nice and slowly so Rosie doesn't take her eye out on the camera. That would be a bit dramatic, wouldn't it? I think you need little pliers for this. I'll get little pliers and you undo it basically, and you're left with, here's my little scissors. There you go. So you don't need to go down to the shed to get pliers. We'll do it this way. We'll speed this bit of the video up. Right, so we are now done. And what you're going to end up with is this frame, this wooden frame. And then we've got a really nice canvas as well. So it's just a nice wooden frame. And what we're going to do is we are going to cut around. So as you can see, you've got the folds here. We're just going to cut just outside of the first frame part. What I've just realised, we're going to have to take it to the line. I don't know what I was thinking. Just the inside. Rosie, do you plan your crafts? No. What happens is I go into the shops and I go, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that craft. But I don't think it through of how I'm going to do it. But it's fine, because this is why I'm here, guys. I'm here so I can do all the trial and error part. So then you ain't got to do that part. That's exactly what I'm here for. So yeah, I'm going to do it just inside of the fold. Do you know what made me think to do it that way? I thought if I cut it, do you know what? It's better to take off not enough than to take off too much, isn't it? Because otherwise, you know, you can't stick that back on once it's done. And you could use some bigger scissors as well. That would be ideal, really. So my nan's having cuddles and playing with the baby. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. I'm going to actually glue it on the back part here. So the bit where you took the nails out, this is the part we're actually going to use. So I'm going to glue on that section because it looks a bit rough and scruffy. So I'm going to glue on that, a little bit of glue. Let me get my glue stick. Well, that's heating up. Is that hot yet? No, it's still heating up. Now, we're going to do the same technique as well. So we're going to use a little bit of tissue with the stain guard. Now you can paint this in like a burnt orange. You can get tester pots from places like Wilko and stuff for £1, or any leftover paint that you have. And you can do any colour on this to make it autumnal, paint it in a dark brown, make a faux wood effect. But what I'm going to be doing is just staining this again, and we're going to make it look really nice and rustic. It's going to look really nice. And what we're going to attempt to achieve is something that looks a bit like this, that you can purchase from the range and spend £6-7 on, and it's literally cost you. I mean, this frame here I got for 50p, the canvas, but obviously if you want to pay full price for them, they always have these sort of ones in the reduced section, where you can go for a slightly smaller size if you're having a tiered tray. Make sure you stain all the sections apart from the back. You don't need to stain the back. And it's really nice, it's really rustic, because it just adds that little bit of extra charm to it. Is he all right, Nan? Oh, she's out in the other living room. I thought she'd come sit in, I heard the door. So it's just going to add a little bit of something. We're also going to do the insides, because you're going to see the inside of the frame as well. Just add a little bit of stain to the inside as well. You can actually use any wood stain you have. I just thought this was really convenient because it's really cheap. It's not like very, very strong smelling. Well, I don't think so anyway. It's not superly strong smelling. And yeah, I just thought it's quite easy and quick to have in your little craft kit. So just going to rub this down a bit again like I did last time, just to make sure any of the excess is off. And it's going to look really cute, like you've got this little rustic frame. And I'm going to glue the plain side to the back like this to make a framed print. So hopefully the glue is hot. Alice, do you know why? I haven't got the glue stick in. This is like becoming a bit of a Chuckle Brothers moment, isn't it? So I'm just adding the glue to the back. Nice bit of glue. And then what we'll do is we'll quickly glue all the way around the edge, just place our piece of canvas on and make sure it's nice and stuck down to the back, nice and smooth. I would normally do one little section at a time, and then it will just look like that on the back. But that's going to be the bit on the wall, so or to the back, so you're not going to see that. So you'll end up with this lovely little framed piece. Make sure it's all nice and clear. Sometimes you might see the print coming through if you have it up on a window or something, so you may want to just paint over that in some white. I'm going to have it this way because, as you can see, I've got a little bit of stain, a little bit prematurely stuck this on the back, got a little bit of stain there, but like I say, we're going to be using the napkins again with the same technique. So with another napkin, actually, do you have a pattern on the other side? Yes, we do. So with this one, I think I'm going to keep the give thanks on the back. So I'm going to peel it off again. Now, if you don't have napkins and you can't get a hold of these kind of style napkins, by all means, you can paint these freehand. If you're struggling to paint on a pumpkin shape, you can always get, in the pound shop, they do cookie cutters in the Halloween section or Asda, places like that. You can get pumpkins and you can trace around with a pencil and just paint the little pumpkins on it. You can use stencils, obviously. I like to try and do different crafts because last autumn I done the stencil using one of their stencils that you can buy, and I've done stencil Hessian bunting, which you all went mad for, all really loved. But I just thought, rather than doing another stencil project, I'll just try and do a decoupage style project instead. So I'm just going to cut it roughly, and like I say, I am going to rip this, but I want to make sure that I can fit in the design into my little frame. So I'm probably going to put it about there. Yeah, we want the give thanks right at the bottom. Just now I'm going to start ripping to make sure that it all goes seamlessly. And I'll show you as well, you can go over this with a little bit of paint after as well, to sort of touch it up when you want to. Right, so I think that is about right. So now we're going to decoupage this again, a little bit of Mod Podge on your picture, nothing too much, just make sure it's nice and covered, ready to pop on. Now, by all means, if you have a Cricut machine or anything like that, you could print off words and make a sign. It could look exactly like that, but I know not everyone has a Cricut. You could use your stencil and make sayings like this, pumpkin spice lattes, etc. I just thought this is a really good alternative for someone that just wants to buy a napkin and make it nice and easy. And it's a nice little project to sit there and glue and do. And then go over the top of your Mod Podge, make sure that it's all on nice and thick. Now you can, if you want to, paint the back of this in a colour that matches your napkin to make it, you know, like really fit in seamlessly. Or you can do what I'm going to do in a minute. Go a bit careful because the tissue does rip, but that's just me. I'm a bit heavy-handed with this. It does go a little bit crackly, but I don't want it too smooth because I think it adds a little bit of something, it not being too smooth. And we are going to sit this to the side to dry for a bit like we have with the spoon. As you can see with the spoon is actually nearly dry now and it's looking really, really super cute. So we need to let this dry and then we're going to touch up some of these areas with some of the white chalk paint. But we're going to let them dry. I'm going to add though a little bit of ribbon to this one. So I've got this little bit of ribbon. I got this little bit of ribbon that I got off Amazon and it is wired ribbon. So it makes it a lot easier to make sort of patterns with, like, or bows. Oh, it's brushed cotton on the other side. I didn't realise it's brushed on that side. Oh, very nice. So all I'm going to do is fold this like this and then I'm going to pinch it in the centre. Done this one before. I'm going to fold that over so it looks like it's all nice and neat. And with a little bit of twine, you can cut a little bit of your ribbon in half if you want to, but I'm going to use a bit of twine just to pinch this in place. Just to make a nice little farmhouse bow, tight at the back, nice and secure. And then I'm going to glue this to the back. I'm noticing the pound shops and stuff and places like Home Bargains are really pulling it out of the bag with this sort of autumn craft stuff. So normally for years it would take me a lot to try and find bits like this for you guys, but I'm pretty sure you'd be able to find little craft bits like this most places now. The works are always really good. So we've got a really nice bow. We're going to try and make it look a bit more 3D. Fold the bow out a bit more so it's really nice and pretty, and I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue to the back of my bow and then I'm going to pop it on the centre. So guys, coming in with a little voice note just to let you know that now I used a little bit of chalk paint, went over the edge of the napkin to kind of blend it in with the back of the white background. Done this a few times just to make it blend in, and yeah, then let it dry and then you'll see that it really fits seamlessly. I'll show you at the end what it looks like once it's finished, but I'm super happy with this, and this craft cost all about £1.20 to make. So guys, I wanted to clear my station a little bit while we're letting them dry. So another project, if you want to make something rustic, but you don't want something framed like that and something that sits in the kitchen a bit better, I've found this little chopping board. Now this is £1, so we're gonna, yet again, with the stain that we've got, this isn't obviously gonna be food safe. If you wanted to put a varnish on over the top of this, then it could become food safe. But you know, if you want that look of them rustic chopping boards stacked up and stuff, and you don't wanna spend the money out doing it, this is a really good way of doing that, getting cheap chopping boards and just staining them in a darker colour. I mean, look how rustic this is looking already. And it picks up on all the knots and stuff. And it just looks really nice. I'm not going to go over on the back because, well, just a little touch, just for quicker part of this video. Make sure we get it all. And it's going to look like this. Now, what I'm going to use is a tiny bit of chalk paint. So my brush is nearly dry from the other crafts, and I'm just going to rustically go over this. Now, obviously, you can keep it stained if you wanted to, but I thought this would be like to make it really rustic, pick up on the edges. Just going to make a farmhousey sign. Now, rather than using napkins, the pound shop do lots of foam pumpkins in there. And now we're doing this video nearer the time where they do stock the pumpkins in there. I thought this would be a good time to show you. So we're just picking it up, putting loads of white on it, really adding it through. Maybe you can add a tiny bit more if you want to, just to add a bit more white to it, a bit more distressed. And what I thought you could do is, now I've got these pumpkins from Amazon. I'm just doing it because it's for, you know, cheaper. I've already got this rather than going out and buying them from the pound shop. They do sell these little foam pumpkins in the pound shop. They also sell like picks, so basically what you put into floral arrangements, and they have these little foam pumpkins on them, and they come like you get free on a pick. So you can get them and you can obviously paint them if you want to. I thought what would be a really nice little idea is to actually have one of the pumpkins, paint it in white if you want to. We're going to take the stem off of this, and I am going to need a bread knife for this. So if you do have a hot knife, if you're a crafter and stuff like that, it'll be nice and easy for you to do. I'm going to use a bread knife. Obviously, make sure you use some protection on your sides. That goes without saying. I'm going to use a little chopping board. But I'm going to cut the pumpkin down the centre very carefully. Tuck my fingers in. And you can use like a little hacksaw to do this if you want to, but I'm just going to go really carefully and slowly. I may stop talking for a sec just because it'll be ideal. You're going to get a little bit of polystyrene, but you've got them in half. Now, like I say, they do these in the pound shop really cheaply. And then I'm going to get a smaller one. So if you want to get yours from the pound shop, it will work out better. I think I got these in a massive pack off Amazon. I think that was about £5.99 for a massive pack. Sometimes it works out cheaper to actually go onto Amazon. These are the more plasticky polystyrene ones. Sorry if I lose concentration talking, it's just because, like I say, I want to stay safe. Now, I thought this would be a really simple idea. Paint your pumpkins, because normally they're not white in the pound shop. Paint them, take the stalks off, get your little chopping board ready, and assemble your pumpkins onto, I'd say, the bottom of the tray. And we can glue these on. I think that one just about fits. I'm going to place these on with a little bit of hot glue. I'm just going to pop a little bit of hot glue on the back in places where I want them to stick. And I'm going to pop my pumpkins down, which you can do as well. Pop my pumpkins down onto the bottom. And now the little stalks that we decided to put to the side, we're just going to pop on the top. Now, sometimes if they've cut it off and it's got the little sharp bit and it doesn't pick into it anymore, you can just cut that off and put it on with a little bit of glue as well, which I'm going to do because where I've cut them in half, they've not got the little hole in the top, so it'd be easier than trying to make the little hole in the top. Just got to find my other stem. There we are. Good I cleaned my station, eh? Because, you know, it's already really messy. A little bit of glue on the end of this one again. And you've got these gorgeous little pumpkins. And then, again, with some ribbon, you can obviously paint these in different colours. You can have these in oranges if you wish. I just thought it would be really nice to have the white pumpkins, and I think it's going to look really lovely and rustic. I'm going to fold our wide ribbon in half for this. And I'm just going to tie this around the front. Try to, anyway. Might be a bit too big, this ribbon. If it is, not a problem. We'll just use some twine. Oh. You've actually got enough. Pumpkins to make 2 of these. So you can make one for a friend as well. You can put more on them. Yeah, we've got too much ribbon. I'll keep this little scrap. Now you can either glue it on like how I done it on the other one, keep this scrap to do it that way, or I just wanted it tied round. I thought it'd look a lot nicer tied round for some reason. Pinch it again in the middle with some twine like the other bow, and then just glue that on the top there. But I am going to use some twine for this one. Get quite a bit of twine off, or any ribbon that you've got really you can use this for. Would look really, really cute. I'm going to do that, cut it. Double it up because it saves wrapping it round so many times. Quite lazy, do it another time like that. And then wrap it round, it saves you wrapping it round a million times. Make sure it's that section there. And tie it up on the front. Go very quiet as I'm concentrating. And then just cut the little threads. Now you could always write some sort of like script on this, but I just thought it looks really pretty as it is and you don't need to. Guys, the next project we have got, so I know a lot of you picked these up and some of you said that you picked them up for your children's rooms too, because I did say that I'm going to be doing this up for Albert's nursery. So this is just one of the, I think they've got 2 designs of this. hot air balloon bird feeder in the garden section. They'll probably be reduced now, but to be honest with you, I saw this and I thought that would look beautiful in a nursery if it just had a little bit of a pizzazz to it. So even though it's a bird feeder, I just thought this, like, if you've got like that sort of theme in your child's room where it's exploring. I know Albert's got some map pictures up on his wall, and he's got like a little sign that says, let's go on an adventure. So I thought this just fits with that theme. So literally all I've done is I've just got some tester pots that I already have, very similar colours to his room. You can use pinks, blues, any colours you want. I just thought this was a really simple way. Obviously I'm not teaching you anything you don't know how to do here, it's simple painting. But I just thought what I would do is just paint over this in some really nice colours and make it fit in with his room much nicer. So yet again, with one of my old makeup brushes, I'm using a tester pot called Chimney Pot from Wilko, and I thought this was a really nice colour, and it does actually look like a chimney pot. I'm just going to try and stick to the lines the best that I can to go over this, because the pound shop have like done it quite scruffy. That white paint's done quite scruffy, and I think that sort of makes it look a lot cheaper as well. But I think by the end of this, they're going to look like a really nice piece of expensive home decor that you would pick up. Sorry, I've got a scratchy throat. Have a bit of my lemon tea. Yeah, I have got, ever get that? It's made my eyes water. A little scratch in my throat now. So I'm going to have to give this a couple coats because it's quite a shiny paint underneath. And I might need to go over it with like a bit of a detailer paintbrush instead. But I'm going to go over it in this sort of terracotta colour. And I'm also going to go over it in some other colours too. So I'm going to go over, the big white stripes at the front are going to be in this terracotta colour. And then I think I'll probably go over the other ones with, I've got a green colour and I've also got like a mustardy yellow. It's a really nice craft to just do, like a really simple, it's more of an upcycle than a craft. So I'll give everything a second coat, guys. I'm gonna show you now them all styled up, and hopefully you'll think that they're as cute as I think they are, especially for how cheaply made they were. So in Albert's room, he's got this kind of safari style with adventure, little bits and bobs in here with animals, and his flags have got these sort of bits, all animals kind of thing, and these little, and so the adventure begins flag, his little name flags, and I just thought this little hot air balloon just looks absolutely perfect. It blends so lovely, and it looks lovely. I think we might have to get one more for the other side, but over here on this wall. Dad. Please excuse the lighting, guys, because it is currently now evening. We've been football and I've let these dry. So here is the cute little spoon. How gorgeous is this? Really, really sweet, really rustic. And then we've also got our lovely little give thanks sign, which is just really sweet. I think I might go over it again with a little bit more stain to make it darker on the outside, but really, really rustic looking, really, really cute on the side. And when I put out my little like hot chocolate bar and stuff, or like my tier tray with some beads and some little pots and that, I thought that would look really cute with it. And yeah, it's cost about £1.20 to make, so really, really sweet. What I've got hung out is the little pumpkin chopping board, which looks really sweet up on my little picture rail, all my pictures and stuff. And little plants. I just thought that looked really, really cute up there. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. I've been Rosie Henshaw. Take care. See you later. Bye.